What's going on, YouTube? Americans love big SUVs, and two of the most popular family choices have always been from two American brands, the Ford Explorer and the Chevy Traverse. Things are really heating up between these two, since Chevy just debuted an all-new and very big Traverse just a few months ago. And now, not to be outdone, the Ford Explorer is also getting a heavy refresh for 2025. So which American SUV is best for your family? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now we've got a ton to cover in this comparison, but let's quickly establish the pricing right from the start. Beginning with the all-new Traverse, we see higher pricing than average in this class to match the extra space that it has, coming in at $58,090 for this fully loaded RS trim. The Explorer has also seen a price increase for the refresh to bring its total to just shy of $60,000 for an equivalent top-spec Platinum trim level. By the way, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing information for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. It's quite helpful when shopping, so check the link in the description for more information. But as far as this comparison, it will be conducted in an objective way. We've done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories. And at the end of the comparison, we will talk about that price difference between the two of them, as well as talk about resale value and reliability information, a new thing we are integrating into our comparisons. But with that being said, let's get into it. As always, we'll begin with the exteriors, where you will certainly notice the updated designs for both of them. The Traverse has gone with a pretty sporty look, enhanced with this RS trim and its large black grille. On the flip side, the Explorer Platinum is all about that bling factor, with a chrome mesh grille. And for lighting, both have premium LED projector setups. In addition, the Traverse goes the extra mile and has an animation, and only the Explorer has LED fog lamps. Moving to the sides, you'll see both are big, but the Traverse is the larger of the two by about 5 inches. Our interior space breakdown is coming later in the comparison, but for now, you can see the large 21 and 22-inch alloy wheels on the Explorer and Traverse respectively. That is too small of a difference for a point, but the Traverse RS will get a score for the exclusive gloss black wheel surrounds instead of the matte black ones on the Explorer Platinum shared with its lower trim levels. I also want to point out that the Explorer can technically get a two-tone black roof option for 2025, but its hefty $5,000 price tag will put it out of the reach of 99% of buyers. Moving to the rear, you'll notice that both have sporty appearances that are quite similar to one another. They have full LED tail lights, exposed wipers, spoilers, and fancy quad-tipped exhaust outlets. Towing comes in at the same 5,000 pounds for both of them. Now checking out some of the individual features. Both have luxury car mirrors with heating, blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, and power folding. But family SUVs need more than just blind spot monitoring, and as far as your other active safety features, these two have you covered, with all 4 included as standard equipment on all trims. In addition, both offer hands-free highway driving assistance, known as Ford Blue Cruise and GM Super Cruise. We've had extensive hands-on experience with both automakers' systems, and Super Cruise is the more advanced in operation, with features such as automatic lane changing, and is more reliable in the amount of time it stays engaged during our usage.
From our experience, even here on the secondary road, it does feel very confidence-inspiring. The Super Cruise system does a fantastic job. In our opinions, the Super Cruise is actually the best, hands-free assistant out there right now. So certainly, very happy to see that here on this Traverse, and that's a benefit over some of the competition, that's for sure.
Now, of course, as we mentioned earlier, this does have available Blue Cruise, so we have Blue Cruise 1.2. In our experience here with this brief drive down the interstate, I've tried to activate it 3 or 4 times and it keeps turning itself off. So, lastly, no, their warranties are identical besides for complimentary maintenance in the Chevy. But the features, luxury, and comfort of the cabins are the things that are of foremost importance, so let's get into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
As we walk towards the interiors, both models have smart entry systems with remote start built into the fobs, free for life. However, it's only the Explorer that has sensors behind the handles to unlock the doors. Once we open up the doors, you'll immediately see two cabins that are updated with a surprising amount of luxury and impressive technology this year. Before we get into the tech though, let's stop at the seats. While the number of adjustments is the same at 12-way power, and both of them also have heating and ventilation, it's only the Explorer that has seat massage. It's also only the Explorer with the more premium Sanctuary quilted leather. This is very similar to what you get in a Lincoln, which not only feels nicer than the Traverse, but also has more color choices than just black, which is what Traverse is offering. They both also have memory functions, and once we climb inside, we can get into the major point category of overall material quality. While neither are segment leaders in material quality, the Ford does take the lead in this regard. For 2025, they refined the material selection to give you more padded plastic, leather trim, and material variety than the Traverse, which is more utilitarian than luxurious. After startup, you'll see digital gauge clusters on both, with fully customizable graphics. The display is measuring in at 11 inches on the Traverse and 12.3 inches on the Ford, which is enough to award it half a point. Just note that neither of them offer head-up displays. Now moving back to the leather-wrapped steering wheels, both have nice feels in the hand to go along with heating and power tilt and telescoping. Now let's talk about overall interior storage, which is a huge area that both SUVs excel at. The main center consoles are massive, fitting 17 and 14 donuts in the Traverse and Explorer respectively. They also have extra cubbies in the front with wireless phone chargers, and only the Traverse has a center pass-through. That means all put together, the Traverse is going to win this major point category. Moving on to the shifters, to maximize space, both are using small electronic setups. The Ford's is a rotary style, and the Chevy's is a new column-mounted version. When you shift into reverse, both SUVs are remarkably including 360-degree cameras as standard on either all or most of the trim levels for 2025. Moving on, both have 3-zone automatic climate setups that can be controlled in the screens or via knobs for the Chevy. We also have physical volume knobs to control their premium sound systems. The Explorer system definitely sounds more premium, with rich audio quality. Plus, it has a 4-speaker advantage and metal speaker grills. So thus far, you've seen the Explorer has a more luxurious interior than the Traverse, but the advantage definitely lies in the Chevy's favor for the main infotainment screen. It has an absolutely massive 17.7-inch display, compared to 13.2 inches on the Ford. Both of them also have the latest and greatest software from their respective brands with Google built in. That means you have access to Google Maps natively, or you can use wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Finally, both systems run very smoothly even with their impressive graphics. Last but certainly not least, for the front of the interiors, both models have auto-dimming mirrors, but only the Traverse has the rear camera ability. Both of them also feature nice large panoramic sunroofs. But now let's move into the rear spaces, because this is probably the reason you're interested in these SUVs to start with. Now, if you remember, the Traverse is about 5 inches longer, which means it shouldn't be surprising that it has about 8% more rear legroom and 4% more headroom. That headroom figure won't quite score a point though, because it is less than the 5% difference required to score a point. Regardless, the features list is largely the same. There are rear climate controls, vents, 2 USB ports, household power outlets, and heated rear seats. Both also have the captain's chair seating arrangement, but only the Explorer has rear window sunshades. Let's head to the next row of seats. As far as access to the third rows, both have sliding mechanisms to make that simple. But the Traverse's seats tilt forward so that car seats can remain installed. As far as space and comfort are concerned, they have the same impressive figures, but the Traverse has the real-world advantage. Headroom and legroom are nice, even for adults, but the Explorer seats are mounted close to the floor, making for very little thigh support. We have vents and USB connections too, but if you want 8-passenger seating, you will have to choose the Traverse, since the Explorer only has 2 third-row seats. After popping open the hands-free power tailgate, we have even more differences. The Traverse set out to be the class leader in this space, and indeed it does have an approximate 20% advantage in all 3 seating configurations over the Explorer. The Explorer is still spacious, but the Traverse is as large as it gets in this class. But what about features? Well, both include power folding abilities for the third rows, and only the Traverse includes buttons to fold the second row electronically. Both also have spare tires. Alright, that's it for the interiors, so now let's take this family fight to the streets. These two have fought back and forth relentlessly, and under the hoods, that trend will continue with completely different powertrain setups. The Traverse goes for a simplified structure with a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine only, with 328 horsepower and 326 pound-feet of torque. Explorer also has a turbo 4-cylinder engine as standard, but at the nearly $60,000 price point, you get the upgraded 3-liter twin-turbo V6, making significantly more power at 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. As expected, that is a huge Explorer advantage for the same money. Oh yeah.
Beautiful V6 refinement.
That's right. That's the power of 400 horsepower. So, with this Explorer, of course, one of the most unique aspects about it in this generation has always been that it even offers something with this type of power. So this is the 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, again with 400 horsepower. Ford brags that this is the most powerful SUV with 400 horsepower under $60,000. Alright, and that's 65 miles an hour with this Traverse RS. So, with the next generation of Traverse, we have a totally different powertrain than the last generation. So we have gotten rid of the 3.6 V6, and we now have a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That goes for all trim levels of the Traverse, including this top-end RS. Moving past the quick accelerations, let's talk about transmissions. The Traverse and Explorer will come with 8 and 10-speed automatics respectively, which perform smoothly and without hesitation. As equipped, we also have all-wheel drive systems for added peace of mind. Now let's talk about the transmission as well. So this has a 10-speed automatic transmission. A great partner with this engine, nice and smooth. We've always been a big fan of this transmission in the Explorer and other Ford products. It's just a really smooth partner. Alright, so that was an acceleration from a complete stop, going a bit downhill. Let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. So that, of course, is our transmission. We've got an 8-speed automatic transmission. Through our time we've spent with this, I think it's a nice and responsive transmission. Really no complaints. It's nice and smooth overall. But it's definitely not all about speed, since comfort is extremely important for family crossovers. I'll preface by saying both ride fairly nicely, even despite the large 21 and 22-inch alloy wheels as equipped. However, that being said, softer and cushier ride qualities can be found in other options within this segment, or by opting for smaller wheel choices. And really the next thing that we want to talk about today is, of course, ride quality. That's very important in a family SUV. And as you know, when we're talking about the exterior, we do have the 21-inch alloy wheels. So I was certainly wanting to know, how would this Explorer handle these Michigan roads, which are certainly a little rougher than what we have back home in Kentucky. And I think, by and large, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't think it's the smoothest ride quality in the entire segment, but considering that this also has a lot more athleticism than many of the rivals, and again, the 21-inch alloy wheels, I'm still very impressed by the overall ride quality.
But I know, kind of going into this review, I was thinking, okay, are the 22s really going to hurt the ride quality? And here's what I'm going to say about it. We drove it for about an hour already this morning. We've been on quite a few different road surfaces, and I have to say I am very impressed with what Chevy has done here. 22s in this segment are very, very large. It's probably the largest wheel option that you can get in this segment, and when you hit a bump, you can feel some penetration into the cabin, so it's a little bit sportier feeling than some of the other rivals with smaller wheels. However, I think they've done a fantastic job of keeping it very controlled overall.
Normally, we wouldn't really talk about driving dynamics in a three-row comparison, but in this case, I do want to point out that the Ford pulls ahead thanks to its rear drive architecture and pleasant steering feel.
Now, as you accelerate, I want to talk about something that is honestly very unique to the Explorer platform, and it's the fact that it's built on a rear-wheel drive architecture. This is something that's becoming more and more unique in this segment. Most everything mainstream is built on a front-wheel drive platform.
But this wouldn't be a Car Confections comparison if we didn't talk about the noise levels inside of the cabin. We took samples of both at 55 miles per hour. However, they were conducted in different states on the media drives. Because of this, these are unofficial and unscorable figures, but still note that they came within 1 decibel of each other for reference.
Alright, before we started slowing down, we settled at 57 decibels even, which is a very good rating for the Ford Explorer.
I gave it a little bit longer there because the car was actually having trouble keeping 55 miles per hour.
I'm better at it than that.
I know, that's what I was going to say. I think you're better than the car. 57.7 decibels is what we were sitting at.
And the last on-the-road item to discuss is fuel economy. You might expect the Explorer's V6 to come in significantly worse than the Traverse's 4-cylinder, but you'd be wrong. They actually come in at an identical 21 miles per gallon combined, which is super surprising and certainly something worth remembering. Just be aware that neither of them have hybrid models. In our reviews and comparisons, we are also adding in reliability and resale information to give you a better picture of overall value beyond just the original MSRP. Beginning with reliability, we developed the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more realistic picture. In this respect, these two are quite different. Ford slots in 5 spots below industry average, taking away a half point. Meanwhile, Chevy has the second highest reliability ranking at 15 slots above average, giving it 1.5 points. We also put Mason's economics degree to work to develop a detailed predicted resale value tool. After 5 years and 60,000 miles, the same thing plays out with the Ford Explorer coming in a bit less, retaining an estimated 48.8% of its original MSRP, and the Chevy 54.71%. That's a 6% difference, awarding the Chevy 0.6 points. Resale value is obviously important because it determines how much money you get back. We can't forget about the price difference at the original purchase. The Explorer rings in at $1,775 more expensive than the Chevy. And since they fall between $40,000 and $75,000, the Traverse will get a half point per $1,000 of difference, or plus 1 point. I want to emphasize that if money, reliability, or resale value matter less to you personally, feel free to disregard these points. And if you'd like to check out all our data about reliability and resale values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head on over to carconfections.com/resale and /reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, and this is a great place to compare all the vehicle makes that you might be cross-shopping.
So there you have it. That's the end of another comparison, this time between two American family SUV kings. But let's go ahead and recap a little bit and talk about who should be your personal winner. So the Traverse should be your choice if you're really looking for the maximum cargo capacity, as well as having more third row space. It is going to be better in both those regards. Also, if you're looking for more storage in the front of the cabin. And finally, if you're looking for the best hands-free driving experience, Super Cruise definitely was better for us during our testing than Blue Cruise.
Now, on the flip side, the Ford Explorer should be your choice. If you value the luxury experience, especially at this price point, you are definitely going to get a nicer cabin in the Explorer, including stuff like massaging seats and that nice Bang & Olufsen audio system. Additionally, you get the V6 refinement and power. It's going to be a lot more powerful and refined than the Traverse's 4-cylinder. The drive experience also is slightly better in the Explorer and gives you that sportier characteristic that you may be looking for. But we want to know which one of these two vehicles that you are going to take. Are you taking the Explorer or the new Traverse? Let us know your thoughts down below. Also, if you're looking to buy either one of these products, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. That works for all cars, not just these two, and if you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this comparison. If you enjoyed and want to see more of these comparisons, hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.